And the another type of array is polar array. Check this out. As you can see, here it is. Let me give you an example. Here, assume that we have a circle right like this, and then I extrude this circle. Check this out. After that, then here I'm gonna sketch a rectangle like this. Let me check it into perspective view, and then I'm gonna extrude it by this way. Here is the result. Then I'm gonna array this rectangular box around this column or cylinder. So I select the box at first. I click on polar array. I start the command. Here even you can type polar array or ArrayPolar. At first we should specify center of polar array. So I can enable the center grid snap. Then I specify the center of the cylinder or the center of the circle. And since we have sketched it in the origin point, we can enter 0 and then the number of the items. Let me see. For instance 12. I press down enter. Let's check it out. Watch the S, please. Here the angle to fill or first reference point. That here we should specify the angle of the array. That the default value is 360. Enter. Check this out. This is the preview. For instance, we may want to modify it. For example, when I specify 180 degrees, I click on fill angle, and then I can modify the value 180 like this. Or if you wanted to modify the number, we can click on items and then specify the new value of numbers, for instance 6, and then press down enter like this. Check this out. So by this way you can array a specific object around something by using polar array. In the continuation, I'm going to talk about the other options and have a review. So I selected the object and then I clicked on polar array. Then I specify center of the polar array 0 as the origin point or as the center of the polar array. Then I specify the number of the items 12. Then angle to fill or first reference point 270. Here we can modify the number of the items by clicking on item 16 for example, or we can modify the angle by clicking on fill angle 360 degrees or 180 and so on by this way. But here we got another option which is rotate, and it is set to yes. If I set rotate to no, we got the array without the rotation of the objects, and this is the difference. Check this out. As you can see, it is not that much applicable, but the another useful option here is Z offset, which is set to 0. But what does it do? Here we can specify Z offset for these objects. Let me give you an example. For example, for Z axis offset distance, I specify 1. Check this out. Then here there is a 1 unit offset between each of these objects as they are arrayed. Let me increase the number 24. Check this out. It is rotated around the cylinder 9.7 as the Z offset, and the fill angle 360, or for instance 470. Check this out. Like these stairs 720. As you can see, it is cool and interesting. I increase the value 36 numbers by this way. I minimize the Z offset 0.5 and then I press down enter by this way. So as you can see, we can consistently modify the values and the parameters in order to reach to our desired designing like this. So this was all about polar array. Let us talk about the other types. The another type here is I start the command of ArrayPolar, origin point 0, and the number of the items, for instance 10. The another option is a step angle. In a step array angle, we do not specify the entire angle. I mean, this is not the angle to fill, this is the step angle. The step angle is the angle between the two items, two sequential items. So we specify the angle of between each two objects instead of specifying the entire angle. For instance, 10 degrees. Then we will have 10 items. As you can see, the angle between each two items are 10 degrees, 20 degrees, or 15 degrees. Check this out. Right now, there is 15 degrees angle between each two objects by this way, or 30 degrees for example. Check this out. But here there is a point that you should know. While you are specifying this step angle, if you modify the number of the item, it won't add new items. For example, if I specify 11, as you can see, the one item, it is added and the 270 degrees angle is preserved. I mean, the first and the last items are fixed, but the step angle is changing. I mean, the step angle is reduced to compensate the number of the item. For example, I specify 16 for items, then we will see that the step angle will be reduced. Check this out. The 270 angle is fixed, but the step angle is changing. If I click on a step angle, as you can see, the angle is 18, while before was 30. That we can modify it, for example 20. Let us try again. I want to tell you again. Here we got the object or a box. I start the command of polar array, 0 as the center of the polar array, then the number of the item, for example 12, then the angle to fill. This time I want to specify step angle instead of angle to fill. I mean, I don't want to specify the entire angle, I want to specify the angle between each two objects, for example 20 degrees. Check this out. By this way, we got 20 for example as the item, I mean 12 and 20 degrees. I talked about rotate and also z offset, which are not new things. But here if I modify the value of items, for instance 20, check this out, the added items won't be added at the end of the objects, but it reduces the step angle to place or position the objects or to array them. I mean, the angle to fill is fixed. If you want to specify the step angle 20 degrees, again we should click on a step angle and then set it to 20. Check this out. Here is the result. Then we can adjust the angle between the items. So according to these lessons, I got a practice for you, which is the stair. Let me show you the photo. Here we got a rotative stair. The rotation of the radius is 270 degrees. We got 20 stairs, 140 as the width, 5 centimeters as the thickness, and 360 centimeters as the height. So guys, check it out.